Copying. Hey team, we are live. In Agile. Hello. Good evening, everybody in the house. Okay, so good evening, team. Nice to see all you people in the house. So the time right now is 9:35 p.m. Yes, I got a bit delayed to get started for the session. Okay, so I just rushed from office and then reached back home and then got started. Okay, so hello team. I'm just typing a hi, hello in the chat box because looks like again the messages are not rolling in. So fine, chalo, let's get started for the day. Good evening, Pavan, Akshay, Ramalinga. Nice. All the people in the house. Good evening, Alok. Okay, guys, today's day is going to be very important. Okay, and it's really, if you are going to claim gap as experience, it is going to be a very blessing for you people, because this is how your entire industry, IT industry, is working. Okay, so it's going to add a lot of value to all the listeners right now. And even though as a fresher, what we are going to discuss today is going to open the entire face of IT for you, where there is massive results which is going to come as part of it. Okay, so Satya Prakash, Nigar, Samir, Santosh, Alok, yes, it's going to be massive learnings. Okay, fine. So chalo, let's get going for the day then, everybody. Okay, let's get going for the day. So guys, as part of today's day, we are going to discuss about Agile. Okay, and what it is, basically it's a software development process. Okay, so you might have heard it in your college or any other times, right? SDLC, software development life cycle. So that's what is like a way of developing software. Okay, guys, you take anything, just be logical. Okay, just use some of your senses, basically define it by logic. Okay, whenever we want to build anything, okay, let's say anything, basically, for example, this laptop or mobile that we are connected right now from, so if anybody wants to manufacture a mobile phone, let's say, for example, right? So guys, there is one way ke kuch bhi randomly kar do, right? Take a piece end to end, kuch to bana ke just release it. But what will happen is, guys, when there are many people working for the same software, so then it becomes like they need to follow certain process, right? Step by step application has to be there, because oh boy, okay, step by step application has to be there, because that is going to give more results. Okay, and this is what is happening, like in the IT industry also. For developing a software, there is a way by which a software is developed. The way your laptops are manufactured, or anything which you find in your home, let's say electric bulbs or lights or fans, ACs, anything, they are all prepared in bulk in a particular manner, and a process is required for development. Similarly, for your software also, it cannot be just done randomly by any kind of nonsense, right? It follows a systematic approach, and that is with nothing but the terminology came like software development life cycle. Okay, now way of developing a software is software development life cycle. Okay, so guys, I want to ask a simple question. Many of your people have recently completed your education, maybe 2019-20 kind of. So have you heard about Agile as a software development life cycle in your college or in your academics? Can you just type it in comments? Or what are the models that you are aware of, team, as part of SDLC? So don't tell me that you have not even studied SDLC. Okay, so you should know that first of all. So can you just type it in comments, like what models are you aware of Agile? Just can you write that? Are you aware of Agile? Heard about it anytime before? Because guys, dekho, Agile is such a kind of a software development approach, which is not something new. Okay, Agile is like since past 15 plus years. It's not recent one. Okay, so some people yes, some people no. Okay, guys, you need to understand, Agile is not something very recent. Okay, some people have heard about waterfall. Okay, waterfall. Nowadays, let me tell you, there are a lot of problems with waterfall model. Okay, there are a lot of problems, and because of that, many of the industry is saying no to waterfall, and they are abiding by agile methodology for software development. Okay, and guys, I'll just give you guys uh, one particular example. Okay, I was once working with some of people, okay, in a company. The company was 15 years old company. Okay, and then what happens is 15 years old company, there were around 1,000 employees in that company. Okay, uh, हाँ समीर ठीक है, from you only बोलता है. Okay, guys, chalo, let's get back to the topic, guys. Understand it very clearly. Yeah, spiral model is there, waterfall is there, but let me tell you, there are a lot of drawbacks in these models. And guys, human beings are smart. We learn from our mistakes and we keep improving on things. Similarly, whatever mistakes were there with the older model, we kept improving, and that is where agile came, basically. Okay, and as part of today's session, we are going to understand how it overcomes the limitations and how working in agile is, and it is something which is very useful, guys, for many people. Okay, so chalo, let's understand. But first I want to give you guys an example. There was a company, and the company was like what, 14 years 15 years old company. Okay, and as part of that organization, 1,000 employees, they were all adapted to one older way of development. I think it was waterfall, no, it was spiral model. Okay, they were doing it incrementally but in a different model, basically. Okay, it was spiral there. Okay, and they were all the 1,000 employees of the company were knowing that process, and they were all delivering based on that. Okay, but yeah, you have to understand the catch here. Now all of a sudden, the top management of the organization said, hey, we want to change from spiral model, and we want that our entire company should develop and deliver software using agile approach as the software development approach. Guys, is it simple? Okay, for example, right now I'm doing a training workshop for you for agile, but yeah, just talking is different, and when you go practically and you start working, so there has to be agile coaching to also happen on a day by day basis to you people. Now you need to understand, for 1,000 member company, changing them from a spiral model and moving to a agile model means they have to invest that much time in training such people. Some externally people will come for specifically training them, so time is going to go, money is going to go, but still the entire organization decision is happening, we want to go away from spiral and going to agile. So now just apply some sense to it. That means there has to be something very nice. Okay, there has to be something very nice to really convert it into maximum results. Okay, with the agile approach there will be something very powerful, so that the entire company is trying to convert into an agile approach. Okay, and so let's understand what exactly these things are and how it will be getting benefited. Okay, fine. Now, so basically, guys, just understand one important thing. When it comes to software development, what are the three parties which involve in software development? Okay, what are the three parties? The first one is the client or the customer. Okay, the second one is the company who is actually developing the software. The third one is the employees, nothing but people like you and me who are developing the software. Okay, so basically, yeah, these are the three parties. Now what agile says, it has defined such a kind of a process of software development which is going to be beneficial for all the three parties. Your customers are going to be very much satisfied. Okay, the technical team, nothing but you and me, we people will be very much happy if we work in an agile environment. Nothing but your growth rate, the rate by which you learn new things, new technology, skill set upgradation, your dynamic nature of thinking, responding, everything is going to go very massive. If you work in an agile environment compared to a non-agile environment, you will be more result oriented in an agile environment. That is the second thing. And guys, when the customer is happy, when the team is happy, obviously the company is going to be happy, right? The company will pay more money to the customers, and the things are going to go through. Okay, this is what it is. Fine, now let's understand what agile says and what is the primary difference between the other models of software development and between the agile model. Okay, first thing, when we were working with some older methodologies. Okay, so guys, point is, If you want to understand definitions, what is the difference between this and that, Google is the right place. I am here to share practical knowledge with you people, working knowledge with you people, so that you really understand how IT industry works. If you want just question answer differentiation so that you can answer in interview, so basically just Google it and you'll find a lot of links about it. Okay, let me give you the core value of my talk. Okay, practical knowledge which I am working on a day-to-day basis, and it's really going to be very much useful for all you people. Okay, so first of all, what was happening with the older method for many of the methodologies like waterfall or anything? Step number one, client used to give the requirements. Okay, and as part of the requirements, people used to come together, understand all these requirements, and then take enough amount of time in designing analysis, like how we want to do, and then estimations, how much the project is going to take time and all that, and then come up with a very detailed estimations. Okay, nothing but it used to be what, around like huge, like 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years, that big projects were there. Okay, and you need to understand, earlier the IT market was different, there was less competition. Right now, if a customer comes to you and you say, I will give you something back in 2 years, they will never give the project to you. That means those models are not going to work now anyways. They have to change the way of working. So waterfall is not a model which will run right now. Okay, because 2 years, 1 year is a long time for the customer. Market will be there, some startup will come, they will say quickly we'll give you the software. So that was the first problem with waterfall. People used to give a long term commitments. Okay, long term commitments, 1 year, 1.5 year, and that model is not going to work. Second problem was, okay, when the requirements are coming, guys, a honest opinion, my practical working experience of 10 year, what I realized is, many a times, even though the clients give the requirement, but they are confused. Okay, they are confused, like in the end whatever we give them, it might be as per their requirements, but they will be like, no, no, I'm not liking this, can you change it a bit? Okay, guys, simple, it's a human tendency, we cannot visualize everything. But guys, as a technical company, you might say, hey, but you asked for it and we gave you. That's a logical argument, but the end result is your customer is not satisfied, yes or no? Let's say for example, you go to barber for haircut. Okay, you might give him requirement, do it like this, do it like this, set it up nicely, blah blah blah. But in the end, okay, maybe whatever instructions you gave, he follows everything systematically. Still there might be, sometimes you might be like, yaar kuch to aur missing hai, something is missing, can you do this also, can you try that also? Nothing. But as a customer, when you see the results, you will feel like even adding more value. So that kind of thing was never possible, right? So if you're working in some older model, you say 1 year tak you have to do development, and you do the entire development. In the final 1 month, you give the software back to the customer, and the customer cannot change it. Even if you don't like your hairstyle, you have to live with it. And guys, what will happen in such kind of customer, if he's disappointed, next time he's not going to give project to your company, because he's like, no, 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 they did not consider my requirements. And that is the primary thing, people. That's the primary thing. We don't want the customer to be dissatisfied, which was one of the major problem as part of the older methodologies. Now with agile, that is completely changed. Agile is guaranteeing 100% customer satisfaction. That's a pretty big of a statement. 100% customer satisfaction. Now how it achieves it, we are going to understand it. Okay, but 100% customer satisfaction. And other thing that agile says, it's not required. Other thing that agile says, it is not required to wait for 1 year for delivering some software back to the customers. We will do it in phase by phase manner. And guys, these phases are also not like big time phases. The phases could be 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. In matter of weeks, delivering something to production. Guys, you might be like, what is happening? But I have been working in similar kind of models since past 6+ years. Not new, 6+ years, the same model of working. Some companies might set it at 1 month, some company might be like 2 weeks, some company 2 months, but the frequency of releasing a product to production is not waiting for 1 year anymore, or even 6 months is a lot of time. It has broken down into matter of 15 days or 30 days. That's how the software development is happening in the real world. Almost 80% of the companies are following the similar model, and those who are not following, they are actually trying to follow it, trying to change the way they are working. So let's understand what exactly Agile says. Okay, Agile approach is pretty simple, guys. Okay, Agile says, okay, fine, you have the overall requirements which might take us 1 year for completion. The overall feature might take time. Agile is not black magic or some kind of magic which is just going to shorten up everything. Okay, Agile is a strategy. Okay, and what Agile says is, fine, the overall project is going to take, now let's say you are the customer and I am representing a company and I run based on Agile. Let's say you come to the organization and you are asking a question saying, hey, I have these requirements, can you build up a software? And I know Agile, and what I say is, okay, fine, tell me your requirements, and you keep telling me so many of the requirements, and let's say you give all the requirements to me, and now you are asking a question, so clients are not aware of that. It's the responsibility of the technical company to tell them, hey, we do the work like this and it will give you guys value. So now when these people come in and you gave all your requirements, I'm going to ask a simple question. Yeah, everything is fine. Overall project might take X amount of time. But my question to you is, what are the key features which you want to be developed as quick as possible so that you can start running your business online? Nothing but that, in the Agile terminology, is called as MVP, minimum viable product. Okay, so nothing but the tech team, the company is going to ask your client, hey, tell me what is your MVP, minimum viable product. Nothing but that is the bare minimum functionality which is required to take the product to production so that it can start making some money or marketing or anything. Now, what happens is, what Agile says, like initially, the entire team is going to focus only on this minimum viable product, the base version of the software. And as soon as it is developed, we are going to release it to production. Okay. So now it can be like matter of 1 month, 2 months, but generally it doesn't cross 2 months. Minimum wheels, if the client even says lot of work, we say it's maybe minimum, something might be required. Nah. Why wait for 4 months? We want to give you something more quicker. Then the guys would be, okay, from this priority item, this is my top priority interest. By that way, the technical team is going to ask the right questions to prioritize which features the client want early. Okay, this kind of communication will happen, and accordingly, some kind of minimum version will come, which you might just take 1 month or 2 months, and you might just go ahead and do the deployment in production as well. And after that onwards, so guys, you need to understand, now it's not in a production support mode, because actually for going in a production support mode, it still needs 1 year. So the projects in the IT industry with Agile go to production, but there is still 8 to 9 months of development still pending. Nothing but you are enhancing the features of an existing live product. That is how Agile says you should work. Deliver the value quickly to the customer, and then iteration by iteration, cycle by cycle, you keep adding more and more and more features to the existing product based on the customer value. Customer says this is important to me, you deliver that. Something is not important, you postpone it. By that way, you would be giving more value to the customer. Now, will the customer not be happy, guys? Simple question. Rather than waiting for 1 year, he's seeing something in production in just 2 months of time. Very happy customer, right? He's like, hey, I thought 1 year I need to wait. In 2 months, I see it. And the other thing is, guys, Agile says we will be giving frequent demo to the customers. Nothing but before deploying the piece to production environment, okay, before deploying the piece to the production environment, you are going to demo to the customer, hey, we have built up this solution, do you like it or not? and the customer might like it. It's like your haircut. He gave the requirements. In the end, you are asking mirror dikha ke, do you like it or not? The customer says, okay, yahan se it's good, but yahan se it's still long. Can you do something about it? You say, okay, fine. Budget is still there. Time is still there. You say, okay, fine. As part of the next solution, next step, or the next iteration, fine, I will be fixing this part of your project as well. And then we would be doing an enhancement to the existing thing which is already developed. By that way, the customer will always get what they want. If they don't want something, they will say, I don't want to deploy this in production, so please enhance it first, fix it, demo it, and then we will take it into production. So guys, by that way, customers will be very happy with the entire solution. And you need to understand that they are seeing things in advance, they are demoing it, they are liking it, not liking it, they are asking you to change, and then you go to the production, and then you do the deployment on the production system as well. So this is how Agile works. Okay, so customers are happy. Now, for talking about the second and the third factor, okay, like how it is beneficial for the company, okay, and how it is beneficial for the employees, let me get into more in depth about Agile, about how Agile works. Customer ko to got it what he wants. Now let's go in depth. Okay, guys, Agile talks about this what we spoke, but guys, when it goes about implementing a project using Agile, there are many ways of doing it. Okay, there are many ways of implementing Agile. You might have heard, some of you people might have heard Scrum. Okay, the term as Scrum. Scrum framework is one way of implementing Agile. So Agile is like a specification. In your Java, you might have heard, right? JDBC is a specification. Oracle, MySQL, and all the products are giving the implementation of that. Like that, Agile is a concept. Agile is a concept which talks about what we spoke so far, but how to implement it, that model, implementation model might be different. Okay, some people, some company implement Scrum framework for Agile implementation. Some people implement Kanban as the framework for Agile implementation. Some people implement Scrumban. Nothing but in my project we are using Scrumban. Nothing but it is a combination of Scrum and Kanban approach. Okay, now that is one way of doing it, and there are multiple other models of Agile software development. Okay, but guys, as part of now, Scrum Master is different. Scrum Master is different. Scrum Up framework is different. Okay, now we will understand what these people do basically. Okay, now one of the most popular used one, most commonly used one is Scrum framework. Okay, and now as part of today's session, we have still 30 minutes to go. We will be understanding how the Scrum framework works and how you are supposed to work in your IT industry if you're working in an Agile approach, and some terminologies which you should be aware of. As part of today's session, we are going to discuss all of that as well. Okay, it's fine. So let me quickly, I'll be sharing my screen, team. Okay, so let me just open that document first of all, and after that I will be explaining it to you. Okay, so just give it a minute, team. Okay, just 1 second. I'm about to share my screen with you people so that we can practically see it together. Okay, so fine, team, I'm sharing my screen. Share screen. Yep, share. Okay, guys, so is the screen visible? So let me even load it in my mobile so I can see the view as well here, so I can be more in the context. Share screen. Okay, so guys, I'm sharing my screen right now. Okay, well and good. Okay, now guys, so what I've done is, if you just visit my profile, okay team, so just like, okay, just go here linkedin.com /tosifs. There are some very valuable things which I've added. Okay, so if you just go to my all activities and check out the documents which I've posted, not all my posts, go to the documents, you will find something really useful content for all you people. Like preparing for IT industry is one. Okay, second, interview preparation tips, so I've added that, like how do you prepare in the interview. Okay, so those kind of details are available here. It would be really useful for many of you people. Next, some sample resume for fresher, I have uploaded that as a sample resume for fresher. You can actually scroll down, there is a document which I have prepared on Jira and I have submitted that as well. So you can spend some time in knowing about Jira as well, how it works and stuff like that. Then find going for like experienced people, some sample resume for experienced people, you can get benefited with this as well. Okay, and then moving on further is some article about like getting started with the IT industry. These things would really be useful for many people, and that's where I'm having it, trying to share the best of my knowledge so people can make the most of it. And then eventually we come here for the agile section. Okay, now let me download this document. Is there some option? Okay, okay, nice. There is a download. Let's see whether the screen is nicely visible. Yeah, we can zoom in as well. Okay, team. Okay, so fine, chalo, let's get started. Let's make the most of the use of the remaining 95% of the thing. Okay, fine, later I'll paste it as a comment here. Okay team, chalo. So fine, my LinkedIn profile, I'll just paste it. You go to the document section, you will find a list of all the valuable documents. Okay, so now talking about agile, fine, you can just walk through this document. Okay, and it will just give you basically 100% customer satisfaction. Traditional way has a lot of problems, so even you'll get something about it. And agile is this. Okay, you basically, what we said, we don't wait for 1 year, we break down the process and do incremental development. This is what is agile approach. Okay, now what these terminologies, what this plan, design, build, test, review, we will discuss about it as we touch the Scrum framework. But this is what it is: you take important features, you develop it completely, you demo it, and here you say there is launch written. Nothing but you will be even launching it to the production environment, and then you will go further to the next sprint, nothing but the next cycle, where again you will pick up some items, you will design it, you will build it, you will test it, you will review it how it is looking, and again launch. And by this way you work in iterations. This is what is agile. Don't develop everything in one go, develop it in phases, review it in phases, and if everybody is okay, just release it to production. By this way it is going to do 100% customer satisfaction, people. Okay, fine, now let's move on further. So this is what is agile, and now let's understand. Fine, there are more advantages, you can actually see about it. We will be touching the client advantages already, like, okay, client changes, so if they want to modify anything, that can be considered. Okay, so they are getting a chance to see what they are building up. And like it's 100% customer satisfaction. We can develop and deliver any new requirements to the client. Okay, even though the development is already started, client can market their software like nothing but it will go. So these are the benefits, so it is so properly covered. You can spend some time, but I want to take you people to agile approaches. Just see, how do we implement agile. Okay, different companies will have different things. We already spoke about Scrum, we spoke about it, we spoke about Kanban. Okay, there is something more called as extreme programming as one more way of agile approach. So there are a lot of ways of doing it. We are doing a Scrum ban, we have combined two approaches together. Basically what it says, whatever works for giving the best value to the customer, you go ahead using that. And there are multiple ways of doing it. As part of today's session, we are going to focus about the Scrum framework, because this is one of the most popularly used one. And if you see, These are some of the popular agile methodologies, nothing but way of implementation of agile: Scrum, Kanban, Stream Programming, Lean Programming, Crystal, DSDM, Feature Driven Development, FDD. Okay, but guys, don't deviate your mind so much. If you really understand Scrum, to some extent, second priority pay, Kanban is used in the industry. So don't spend more time in all these other things. There are something valuable things in extreme programming or lean software development which you can take and you can apply it in Scrum and Kanban. So that's the beauty of this. Some valuable things from the other methodologies you can take and you can apply it. So that's how, but primarily many companies are following Scrum and Kanban. So today we are going to understand the Scrum methodology. Fine. Okay. So fine, let's go ahead with the Scrum. Now, this is what is a Scrum framework. Okay. Now, this is what is a Scrum framework, people. Okay. How does the system work? Okay. How does the system work? Now, some of you in the comment pasted about Scrum Master. Okay. Now, earlier when we were talking as part of our earlier sessions, we spoke about product owner. Okay. And the third is nothing but called just as the team. Okay. So that's one very good benefit, guys. Okay, even there are seniors, even there are juniors, we call everybody like, hey, it's the team. Okay. And guys, if now from outer view, guys, you know, from the outer view, if something fails in the team, we don't blame it on one particular person. From the outer view, it's like the entire team has failed. And if everything is successful, the entire team gets the credit. So guys, in the company or in the team, it is not about hide and seek. This is your problem, this is my problem. It is a generic problem of the team. Because everybody is just referred as the team. Designations might be there, seniors, juniors might be there, but even if juniors suffer, seniors are equally responsible. Even if seniors are done, then also it is followed. Okay. Jira is not a process, man. Jira is a tool, project tracking tool. Jira can be used for Scrum as well as Kanban. Okay. And these two things are very popularly done with it. Okay. Fine. Jira is just a project tracking tool, nothing more than that. Fine. Now let's take it further. Okay. Now moving through the stages, team. What will happen? Just know the diagram. Observe the diagram a bit closely. Let me zoom it a bit. Whoa. Okay. Let me see. Can I pinch it down? Oh, it's just doing a big one. Okay. Okay, no worries. I'll just walk you through it. Okay, team. Fine. So chalo, let's get going for the day then. Okay. What are the pieces? So first of all, you need to understand there are primarily three roles when it comes to the Scrum methodology of software development, and it is very common. You might be hearing about these terminologies in and out. Now let's understand it. First one, product owner, Scrum master, and the team. And guys, there are certifications available to be a product owner. There are certifications available to be a Scrum master, and there are certifications available to be a team member also. You can get certified, okay, for becoming any one of this. That means proper training, proper certification available for each of these roles, which will be a proof, yes, you know about how you're supposed to work in an agile team. Okay, again, optional, but if you're interested, you can do it basically. Okay. Now let's go further. What exactly happens? Many people have this confusion: is product owner like project manager? Let me tell you. Okay, it's a different role. It's not a project management role. What has happened is some of the responsibility of the project manager is splitted to product owner and is splitted to Scrum master. So the responsibility within the old models of software development, project manager used to do. Now some goes to the product owner, some goes to the Scrum master, and now on top of that, product owner is also a business analyst. It is not just a project manager. He has to work and he has to plan up the resources, like requirements and all that. Nothing but this guy here even acts like a business analyst. And now what Scrum Master will do, will come to it. Chalo, step by step, let's understand how this is Agile Scrum framework at a glance. In one simple view, we will be understanding all of these things. Okay, fine. Chalo, let's go then. First of all, what we spoke about, we want to develop minimum viable product, right? The base version of the software needs to be developed the first. Now, who is going to define? It's not the entire team member's responsibility to ask the client what to do, what to do, what to do. IT has structured things. There is this person, product owner. It is nothing but part of the technical team. This person actually talks to the customers. Okay, it actually talks to the team, it talks to the other managers, executive, nothing but it is the responsibility of this guy to talk to n number of people and then prioritize the work that needs to be developed. Nothing but this person is going to talk to the customers and then collect the requirements. Sometimes if he needs to discuss with other team related managers for something, it is up to his role. Basically, if he is not able to make decision which is more important, which is not important, if the customer is not able to do it, then he have to talk to multiple other people. So, but that is not the team member's responsibility. You can completely relax. It is going to be the product owner who will interact with the outer world, and then his work is to prepare the list of work for you people so that you can continue working on it. Okay. Now, nothing but if you see, this is called as product backlog. Nothing but the list of items which needs to be done as part of the product development. Nothing but what is product? The website which you are building up is called as product. Basically, you're building up a product, basically a website or any application or a software. So we call it as a product backlog. So the product owner, so whatever the team is building a product, that is where it is called as the product owner. And then he works with the people to prioritize. He works with the business team, with the clients, and then this is what this says: prioritize list of what is required feature, bug, or whatever. So all the work that needs to be developed, this person is going to line it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 8. Nothing but in a priority. That's nothing but the responsibility of the product owner. Furthermore, guys, as part of our, I think, earlier day, we spoke one thing, that the requirements will be written on tool like Jira or any software management tool. It could be any of the tool, guys, doesn't matter. It could be Microsoft Planner. Okay, it could be Microsoft Planner. It could be uh, Asana. It could be Jira. These are some of the things which I have personally worked upon. Iske alawa bhi market mein there could be something else. Okay. Now, as part of that, the product owner is going to specify the requirements. Okay. Yes, there will be something called as given when then terminology, and there are a lot of things. Acceptance criteria will be covered as part of the requirements. Nothing but user mocks will be covered as part of requirement. There might be some assumptions which might happen, like for building this software, this is the base assumption. If there are some dependencies with third party, that is going to come. Nothing but a lot of details will be covered as part of the requirement specifying. Now, in the agile terminology, okay, whenever requirement is specified, people call it as user story. You might have heard about this term also, user story or a story. That is nothing but the requirement which is coming from the product owner. He writes it into a form of user story, and then that becomes available for the team to work upon. So just be aware, in the company if you go, people might talk about story. What's your story? Which story number you are working on which ticket number you are working on. They're all meaning what requirement related. In Jira there might be user story created, or in other tools there is a story created. So there the requirements will come, so be aware of that. Okay, so all the list of requirements in the form of stories will be aligned here so that the team can work upon it. Fine, so this is available. Now moving on further. Okay, now what has happened is, just look here, the entire team comes together. There is a section called as sprint. Okay, nothing but, guys, we said the agile team works in iterations. Okay, working in iteration is, don't develop the entire project in one shot, rather develop the project in iterations, in small pieces. Now every piece which develops a software is called as a sprint in the Scrum terminology. Nothing but we call it as sprint. As part of sprint 1, sprint 2, the sprint might be numbers, but sprint means if you start with the sprint, you would develop one small piece of a software. This is nothing but if you see this end arrow here, what it is called, finished work. Nothing but you were doing something. In the end, you have some finished work. It is nothing but one piece of the software. And what people are saying, this piece of the software life could be 1 to 4 weeks of time. Nothing but different projects, different teams might use a different way for how long they should develop some feature. 1 week can be there, 2 weeks can be there, 3 4 weeks, but people don't go beyond that, because then it's like for 2 months who is going to wait for something? Patience nahi hai guys market. Okay, and if you want to be ahead in competition, you have to deliver ahead in advance, people. That is where is nothing but that phase is called as sprint. So you would hear this term and know it. In sprint is nothing but one working piece of a software is going to be delivered, and this is what is the sprint. Now guys, again questions will be there, right? Okay, there are so many requirements. Now which requirements you can finish? Let's say if your sprint is 2 week sprint, nothing but 2 weeks stuck, starting to ending, it is going to take 2 weeks of time. Now the question what will happen is, out of all these work, let's say total 8 work is available, but out of these 8 items which is there, how much work you can complete as part of 2 weeks? Nothing but estimations has to happen, yes or no? And that too not by single person, the entire team needs to come together. The team size might be like 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, all of them come together, which includes developers, which is UI, server, QA, all the people together. They come and say, okay, we have 2 weeks. In this 2 weeks, how much work can we finish? Okay, this is what it is, and we will be doing that discussion as part of the sprint planning meeting. Sprint is that duration, and planning is nothing but before the sprint starts, you will be doing a planning of, okay, team select starting at top as much as it can commit to deliver by the end of the sprint. Nothing but the team itself will be telling it, by the end of this 2 weeks of cycle, we are going to deliver you this much of work. That discussion will happen in the sprint planning meeting. You already tell it back to the product owner, okay, hey, you said us 10 requirements, but we can finish only 3 because it is complicated, it is this. Guys, that is where in IT estimation is very important. So you guys should estimate, and that's where, guys, even freshers 1 year, you should know how much time you will need for developing something. Okay, it comes with practice, but I would encourage you to estimate your own work, and that kind of thing will happen as part of sprint planning meeting. You will estimate how much work you will finish, and guys, this is the daily working life for everybody basically. Okay, so freshers, experienced people, they will all be doing the same stuff. Now fine, let's move on further. Once you have picked up the top 3 items considering whatever factors, okay, now comes the second thing. Okay, factors and all that identified, but more clarity is required. Who is going to work on what? It's not a fish market, guys, yes or no? It's not a fish market. It has to be who is going to work on what. Somebody says, hey, I am writing like the database layer here. Somebody says, okay, I am writing the service layer. Somebody says, okay, there are 3 features, I will work on the second feature on the server side. Somebody says, no, the third feature is more complicated for server, we need 2 developers to be assigned if you want to really complete it. Nothing but all this kind of planning will happen. Okay, all this kind of detailed planning will happen, like, okay, 3 features are there, who will be working on what, who will be working when about it, and then there would be a clarity. Okay, then there will be a clarity, like, okay, Tausif is going to work on this, let's say Akshay is going to work on that, Praveen is going to work on that, and when he is starting with the development, when he will end the development and give it to the testers for testing, when the testers should write the test cases, when they should finish the test cases, when they should test the test cases, everything has to be planned. Then only the projects become successful. All of that is called as nothing but task breakout. Nothing but whatever things were available here, you start breaking down into smaller tasks. Okay, so you will do this, you will do this, you will do this, and guys, this is where it becomes interesting. You know, with the older model of software development, the team, most of the IT members still do not know how to do the estimation of your work. You still don't know how much time you will need for finishing something, and that is a very big problem for the IT industry. But the more people starts adapting with the agile and using agile, everybody, agile forces you to make estimations. Guys, you might go wrong in estimation, that is fine, but the more time you take, you will start becoming better. Yesterday's topic, guys, practice makes you perfect. So day one, you might be like, okay, I need 5 days for completing. You're realizing, no, you have actually taken 7 days. So then you can do a study like, why did I say 5 and why it became 7? So next time onwards, you would know like, okay, these kind of things are also to be considered. And guys, when you do it 5 times, you would automatically become good in estimation. That is how, this is one benefit which the team member is going to get, which was not there in the older model. The team leads or the managers, they used to estimate. The problem with that is, managers are estimating, leads are estimating, and you are developing. And the lead, if it says in 3 days you have to complete, but you actually know it's a 6 day work, how will you complete it? Late night stretching, weekend working, lot of problems will come in your life. Now Agile has removed that. It is inviting you to make a decision in how much time you can do it, which was a big problem. That is where people used to stretch a lot in the older model, and they used to be very much unhappy. Okay, so much work, night and day work, weekends work, horrible life basically, because they were not estimating themselves. Agile says the team members should do it, because we want to give a comfortable life to the team members also, because it is not about just 1 month of very hard work and then work is done. You have to continue working for 1 year in a row. So it's the process responsibility to give the comfort to the employees as well. Then only you can deliver in a long run, yes or no? Otherwise you will leave the companies. If we start pressurizing you late night every day, weekends every time, you will be like, horrible company, I don't want to be here. Agile knows these problems, so it is solving. Okay, bhai, okay, who are the people? The team is the people who will develop. Ask them how much time they need. They come, they pick up, they define. So your sense of maturity will grow when you are in an agile environment. Your life will be peaceful when you are in an agile environment. You will not be bothered much, because you are telling what's practical, what's not practical for you. Okay, so now this is what is the second benefit which will come to the team. Okay, now understand the third benefit, guys. What is happening in your project? There might be multiple technologies, right? Sometimes it might be like Spring, Hibernate might be there. Sometimes some service might be implemented in a Python programming. UI work is there. Now let me tell you guys, while you are doing this task breakup, who is going to do what? If your project allows, you can definitely raise it. Hey, I want to do some development on Python here. Your project is providing that opportunity. I want to do development in Python. Maybe some other team member might be there who knows Python, but because this kind of environment gives a learning opportunity to you, which is possible here. Sometimes you want to become a full stack, you can say, hey, I have been doing the server work for so many sprints, can I take some UI work for this? There will be UI developers will say, can I take some server work as well? Now if it is possible, nothing but if in the 2 weeks you can deliver that, even by interchanging the roles, you will get a chance to learn. And if you can really give the value back to the customers, people will be okay with that. Nothing but the learning curve is going to be more when you work in an agile environment, which was not possible earlier. And it's not like just in the blank. There are people available in your team itself who are good in UI, but you are doing UI. If you're stuck somewhere, they will come and help you. Similarly, cross for server as well, that will happen. Even for QA, manual and automation, both will be there. They can change the role, and all of that planning will happen here. So understand, it is massively beneficial for team members. First, your sense of maturity, of estimation is growing. Second, your life is cool, comfortable. No more very hard work and stretching late night, weekend life, because you are telling how much time you need. If you wrongly estimate, then you have to suffer. Work late, do it. Fine, but you will get better in those decisions with time. Fine. So understand that this is very important stuff. Yeah, it becomes very easy, man. It becomes very easy in agile. Okay, and then you can learn so many things. That is where people in the agile environment are very dynamic compared to any other environment. Dumb ho jayegi baki ki public, because they are not deciding all these things. In agile you get a very nice life basically. Okay, and that's where IT has developed that. Next, what will happen is, once you pick up the work, once the work is splitted up, given to the team members, then the team starts working on that. Okay, so what is this thing mentioned here? Sprint end date and the time deliverable do not change. This is what it is. Now you are the team. You people are deciding, okay, we will do the top 3 items and we will finish it, let's say, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But once you have given a commitment, you cannot change it. The number of items which you are going to give and the end date which you are going to give, you have to abide, accomplish by any cost. That's the commitment which the team has to offer. That's why we are giving you the responsibility. Otherwise your manager could have done it and then you do hard work. Fine. So you cannot have best of both worlds. So you need to take responsibility for yourself. So date will be fixed, your deliverable will be fixed. Very important pieces. Now guys, point is, this is said and done, but you know what the problem is, guys? Key in practical world, is it really possible to achieve this state? You defined, okay, I'll give you 3 items in 2 weeks, but a lot of challenges might come, yes or no? For example, there is some exception which nobody is able to solve in the team. What will you do? There might be sometimes integration happening with some other companies, some other clients, and that is not getting resolved. Like they are not fixing the problem at their side. What will you do? Sometimes the things are going to be out of your hand, or whatever requirement might be there, the requirement you realize, hey, the requirement is having something missing. I need to go back to the product owner to ask more detailed requirement. Again, the problem. Nothing but that is where, guys, in a real world, achieving this model will have a lot of challenges. But you are saying like you promised and you have to deliver. Now, whose responsibility it is? So agile people know that this is going to have a lot of challenges. So these challenges needs to be solved by the person called as Scrum Master. Okay, agile has defined a process to make sure that whatever is planned gets delivered, and that is nothing but 2 simple steps agile has introduced. One is to solve this thing, to get the work done on a day basis. 2 things it has introduced. They have introduced a designation called as Scrum Master. Second thing is they have introduced a concept called as daily stand-up meeting. Daily stand-up meeting, some people call this as the daily scrum as well. Okay, people call it as daily scrum as well. Now, and if you see here, it says it happens every 24 hours. Nothing but every single day this stand up is going to happen. And if you see at the color combination here, there is red color scrum master and there is rest of the entire team. Product owner is not involving. Product owner has said, I gave you my priority. I gave you my priority. I want the work in the end. You do all this list of the drama. You finish up this entire work on a daily basis. So 2 approaches, 2 processes will be there. And this is where the value add will happen on a daily basis. You're going to come for the stand-up meeting, especially all you people, experienced people, or even freshers. When you walk into a company where you're working in a Scrum framework, daily stand-ups will happen at fixed time every day. For example, in my company, it happens daily at 10 a.m. where the team all logs in and then they give a report of few things, what they were working on yesterday, what is the plan for today, and are there some dependencies with some other person. Simple 3 things. What were they working yesterday? Okay, what is the plan for today? The team member itself says, and are there any dependencies? Okay, and that is where you raise all those problems as part of the scrum to the scrum master. And if there are any dependencies, guys, this is where no hide and seek. If you're not able to solve problem, if there are dependencies, if the exception is not being solved, then you raise it out as part of the stand-ups to these people so that they will do whatever it takes so that you can solve the problem. Your problem is no longer your problem. It becomes a team problem if the team does not deliver by the end of this cycle. Understand that your problem is not just your problem. For example, if I don't deliver, I'm the lead of a 30-member team right now. My designation is head of technology of a 30-member team right now. If any single person in my team is not able to meet the timeline and then that release gets affected, we are running 3 sprints at the same time right now in my project. 3 sprints, nothing but 3 different parallel internal projects happening right now. Okay, 3 cycles happening. If any of the cycle is not delivering it, I am supposed to be responsible. Nothing but the entire project fails because of that. So it's not possible If I come to know like somewhere my project is struggling, I have to jump into it, see what's the problem, check it with the scrum masters. Hey, what's happening? Why this person is not able to do? What's the problem? How can we solve it? And then we all do whatever it requires to solve the problem. So when you meet up for the stand-up meeting, keep a transparency there, keep clarity of work there, of what is happening, what's not happening, and make sure that whatever is planned, you go ahead and deliver that. No exceptions to that. And that is where, guys, the team is going to get really productive. They will not be wasting the time. You will get really work done. Items will be on track. If you are stuck somewhere, you will be solving the problems. Everything is going to go very easy just because of two approaches: scrum master position and this guy. You might be like, a problem, how would the scrum master solve it? If suppose it could happen like somebody went for a sick leave. Yes or no? Somebody went for a sick leave. Work uska kaam kaun karega? So lot of these kind of problems will come in the somewhere exception coming. Nobody knows how to solve it. Now that's where scrum master is a certification, where this guy is particularly trained to deal with all such kind of problems. So for senior role it will come, guys, maybe 6 years 7 years ke baad you guys can become scrum master. Okay, I did all that scrum mastering, did project management, did. Now I moved to a higher level than this. Okay, so now I am at a top of this layer basically. Okay, so I work like a scrum master, I work like a team member. I did not do the product owner, somebody else was doing it, but I clarified a lot of requirements. Karte karte I've gone to a level where now big teams, smaller teams, my level is not required, but I've reached to a position where there are a lot of small teams inside. So for managing that, then my role comes in. What I do right now is scrum of scrum, SOS. So the three scrum masters go to the three teams, they do this daily catch up, and then they come to me as a scrum of scrums, SOS meeting, where we discuss what are the challenges which the team is facing and do we need to do something for solving the challenges. That kind of high level thing will happen. Okay, but by this way you can sort smaller projects. We might not need all that. My project is right now needing, because it's a 30-member team, different companies, different thing, but here we are focusing about one team and the process with regards to that. Okay, fine. Now let's take it further. Okay, no man, scrum master is not a developer. His work is just to solve the problems. Okay, but a developer can convert to a scrum master. He does not code. Scrum master is just for problem solving purpose. That's it. Okay, fine. Now let's continue further. Okay, once this guy does it, the team goes ahead delivering it on a daily basis. They progress on that, and once it is done, once the entire 2 weeks is done, they review. Nothing but it is called as sprint review. Okay, it is called as a sprint review. Now a developer can be a scrum master or a QA can be a scrum master, but when they are executing a scrum master role, basically they don't do development and QA. Their work is to solve the problems on the system. Their work is to make sure that the team delivers on time. If this role is not required, the team itself has to do it, but there will be a lot of real-time problems which will come during development, which this guy solves out basically. So you do a sprint review, nothing but you see, review is nothing but here itself the demo is going to happen. Okay, where you see what exactly was supposed to be done, have you people all done it nicely and everything is good there, and then you say to the product, hey, we said 3 items will be done in 2 weeks, this is your work, we have done it accordingly. And then we give it back to the product owner, and the product owner takes it happily, goes to the client and says, now do you want it to be delivered in production environment? And that's how the work happens. Now what is this last thing here? Sprint retrospective. Nothing but this is a meeting, people, where we discuss like what were the problems in this sprint. Somebody may be fallen sick, some tech capability might not be available, some dependencies might be there. So we study what went wrong as part of the prior sprint, and then as part of that we try to solve the problem. Okay, that's what we try to solve the problem. Okay, and then we get more into the system. Okay, this is what is the work happening. Now I will be showing you few more details with regards to how I have done some of my planning in my project. Okay, now let me go here. Okay, so basically this is, I'm sharing it from my project view basically. Okay, fine guys, the screen is visible. Okay team, is the screen visible guys? Yeah. Okay, so chalo, let's get started. So this is nothing but this is somewhat, this is practical. This I am working in my project right now. Okay, this is my project related planning of what we do. Okay, so fine, let's understand this. This is my project plan. So recently I have worked with my Scrum Masters and then defined this kind of template. What we are saying, our sprints basically is going to be of duration 2 weeks. Practical. This is what is my planning. Our sprints are going to be of duration 2 weeks of time. Okay, it might not be that visible for readability purpose here. Okay, but just guys bhavnao ko samjho. Let me try to zoom it if I can give more readability here. Okay, fine. So now what do we say here? Okay, so it's a 2 week sprint, which I'm saying it starts every Tuesday and ends on Monday. Nothing but 2 weeks, right? So it starts 10 days basically. 10 working days is a sprint. It starts on every Tuesday and then it goes Saturday, Sunday is off, and then it continues to the next, and Monday we finish it. And if you see here, Monday hone ke baad, next Tuesday the second sprint is starting. Now how our sprint, these are things which we discussed in the diagram guys. They are also called as the mm, sprint events. Okay, so nothing but sprint review, sprint retrospective, we call it as sprint events as well. So that is where you can see it here. What we do is, okay, first every Tuesday we are doing the sprint planning meeting. So in the diagram we saw it here. What is a sprint planning meeting? This where the team comes together, picks up the item from the list and then prioritize it, and then task breakdown happens as part of that. So all of that work we do it as part of these things here. We say part 1, part 2, part 3. So somewhat we have made it project specific based on. So check for the list, do some internal breakup and freeze it. What we are going to do it with the release, nothing but confirm it with the product owner. This we do it. Okay, and nothing but guys, the previous day we have finished one cycle. Now we are starting with another cycle. So we are doing the retrospection here on the day first, so that ideally people say, okay, you should do the retrospective year itself, but our project was demanding a different situation, so we have tweaked it around. But generally people do the retrospective by the end of the sprint itself, so that new sprint, it's a new cycle, only with sprint planning they continue. Okay, so this is where sprint planning will happen, and then the sprint study is going to happen of what went wrong in the previous sprint. Okay, now fine, on a daily basis stand up meetings will happen, and then when we reach to the last Monday, end of the sprint, what do? We run some internal demos. This is optional basically, but my project is doing it. We run some internal demos, but we do like go stage. So this is where we do some go stage deployment activities, but here is where the final product demo is happening in the second half of the day. So first half, make you complete the internal demo, do the deployment on the stage environment. Nothing but every release we are shipping the content further, like we are done with our work. Next we give the demo, and then the go stage sanity is going to happen, and then we'll open it like our work is done, open for UAT. Nothing but this is a process which keep following from cycle by cycle onwards. If you say, see, this green color is second cycle, and after that, so cycle by cycle we keep doing the same thing. Okay, nothing but guys, so this is fine enough. Now nothing but you will find this one more terminology which we did not see in the diagram. But what is the sprint backlog grooming? Nothing but, if you check it in the diagram, what we saw is, this is one structure, yes or no? This is one structure where we say is product backlog is there, right? So the product backlog just like that will not come, right? It might need technical discussions also, some calls with technically, because product might say build anything, but there might be some technical challenges also available, which might act like a guidance of how the feature should be. So these kind of discussions, okay, these kind of discussions is nothing but called as grooming. where you go together, you discuss it with the team. Like, okay, you discuss with the product owner and the technical team, both will go together and they will refine the requirements or groom the requirements. We have already spoken about it as part of our previous session, grooming and requirement refining. So product owner is going to write some user stories here, but it might need more clarity, something might be missing. All of that work of requirement understanding or requirement gathering happens as part of this product backlog grooming session. Nothing but you go in a call, you explain, you understand what he wants to do, and as an end result of that, then there would be this product backlog which is going to be developed. Okay, as an end result, the product backlog will come, and you will take that backlog as the input, and then you will go for sprint planning meeting, and then the rest of the journey will happen. So this is what is a real working model in my system. Okay, fine. Now, just before, so this is what it is, guys. Okay, so rest of the details, I think, just visit here. How do I share it? Okay, share. Can I copy this link somehow? Discard, copy this link. Okay, so I'm already pasting it into our LT events group. So you guys can directly go here. Okay, fine. And later, if you guys want, I'll even paste it as part of our YouTube channel. Okay, yeah, already pasting it in the YouTube channel. You guys can collect it from here as well. Okay, fine. Now, just before closing that, let me just stop my screen share. Fine, team. Now, before closing the session for the day, guys, okay, I want to say something which is very interesting. And I think you might personally like these things as well. Okay, what happens is, when the company evolves, okay, when the team evolves, okay, it gets into a model like many sub teams will be coming. You might have heard in some companies what is happening is, like big companies, they might do one release. Okay, they might do one release which might happen, let's say, 3 months from now. Some kind of models like that also available. Okay, one company, one release 3 months from now, but again they would do it like month by month kind of thing. But in that, there might be many sub teams which are working together. Right now, as part of today's explanation, we saw one sub team, right? Grooming, refining, blah 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 blah. You will know, like, there might be at times for a company of, like, let's say 200 employees working on the same project. It can happen, right? 200 employees working on the same project. The project is that big, a giant project is there, happening. Now for that 200 employees, matlab like 20 scrum teams or even 25, 30 scrum teams, nothing but a composition of 20 to 30 teams will work together to deliver one major release. And that is a pretty big of a work if you really understand. Now there might be lot of dependencies with lot of people. Yes, for example, now how the IT work happens, guys, the entire project is going to be broken down into services. There would be owners defined. This is your team work, this is your team work. Everybody has their own code base repositories, and then microservices or whatever it is. That's how the entire project is organized when it grows further. Okay, it cannot be a monolithic application. एक कोड में सब नहीं डाल सकते. System बहुत grow हो जाता है. It is hugely expanding system. You break it into services, you define ownership of these things, and then those people take care of that. Nothing but around 20 scrum teams. Now, if you want to develop some feature, you might to have something dependency work done by X team or Y team or Z team. Okay, now the point is how this coordination is going to happen. Yeah, this is very pretty interesting, right? How will this coordination happen? You're very much stuck in your own team problem itself, but how will you do all these things for like 20-member teams? If you get in a call, you'll get crazy, like, okay, I have dependency there, I have dependency there. In the end, results will not happen. And when we are working with such a kind of a company, like with 200 employees, where you have to deliver at a higher pace, and if there is remote work from home and all those things happening, it becomes really tough. And sometimes the teams might be geographically located in different countries as well. Still, you have to deliver a software on time. All these are pretty exciting things. Okay, and guys, one of my friend, okay, he was working in one of a very big client who encountered this kind of say project, and what they say, they don't work with Scrum there, they work with scaled agile, safe. Okay, scaled agile framework, this is what they say, SAFE. So the way of developing software with them is safe approach. That's not a Scrum approach, that is scaled agile. SC, scaled agile framework, something like that. SAFE, you can Google around it, you'll find it. It's pretty interesting. Safe way of development. Okay, that's not agile, it is a wrapper on top of agile. Now what happens is, guys, where 20 teams, there might be 20 independent Scrum teams, but they work together. And guys, you told one very beautiful thing. What they said, the entire 200 teams will be available. So they are going to find the top key people from each of the team. Maybe let's say 3 to 4 people from each of the team, okay, will be selected. Now you just multiply 3 people, 4 people from each of the team into 20 teams. Those are the people who can make decisions about what the feature the team wants to build, what are the dependencies, the tech designers, the QA people, lot of guys, the core people for each of the team will be collected. And what they said, every quarter, now this is very interesting, what they said was, every quarter, okay, in Europe they book a complete football stadium for 2 days. It's a weekend drive for 2 days, Saturday Sunday, they book an entire football stadium where all of these people will come together, and then there is a fire mode where they plan for the next 3 months across these 200 teams. There are remote people watching in, there are lively people available there, architects there, product owners there, an entire football court busy, there are screens available, like it's a environment to be in, guys. Wonderful environment. Okay, I have never been in such a kind of project, honestly, so I'm not much aware of it, but the way he was experiencing it, he was telling it, I was loving it. Well, at least jaake dekhte hai sala kya ho raha hai. Okay, so entire football court they booked for 2 days, Saturday Sunday, where all the representative for 20 teams comes together across globe from different places via flight. They will travel, they will all reach there, and in a massive environment they will all be doing like, okay, for 3 months how many sprints to happen, which sprint which work will be done, where are the dependencies. And like it was like, okay, so if team 1 is having a dependency, what they said is, on a board somewhere they had all this thing labeled down, team 1, team 2, team 3, team 20. And if team 1 for some ticket is having a dependency for team X, you just have to tie a thread from team 1 pointing to team X for your ticket basically, and then you would know that, okay, this person needs me for something, and now everybody is going visiting that board, seeing like, okay, which other teams are dependent on me and how I can solve them, and all of that detailed planning is happening for the entire quarter. एंड उसमें गेम्स भी चल रहे हैं, फूड भी चल रहा है, म्यूजिक है, डांसिंग है, एंजॉयमेंट है, वर्क है, party mode basically. It's like a massive thing. Okay, and for the 3 months they do that planning there for major projects, and then they execute it, and again they meet back for the next 3 months back again as well. Okay, so these are nothing but safe projects, scaled agile projects. Okay, and abhi to mera just 30-member team hai, so we don't have to go to that level. But right now we do a scrum of scrum. Okay, so basically 3 teams are there within me, and these people come together, they talk about the dependency, but abhi tak utna complicated nahi ho gaya where we need to do something at that extreme level. Okay, so chalo, let's see what happens. Life is going to be interesting, and this is what I wanted to share as part of today's session. Agile is one very important thing, and many projects will happen in the agile environment, and make the most of it, guys. Understand today's session. I've already pasted the link, okay, as part of the comment also done. I'll add it in the description. In WhatsApp group it's already available, you can go read through it. But if you are claiming gap as experience, knowing all these terminologies, knowing how this work goes should be your thing. Otherwise people will be like, okay, I met a person some time ago, okay, some time ago in some other project, I met a person claiming experience but nervous, not working with this process, confused with the terminologies, and dekhte hi samajh gaya guys, he's a fake candidate, right? It doesn't need much big of a vision. Looking at it itself, we found it like that. Okay, so fine, now it's all up to you people. Make the most of it. Don't be not aware of all these things. Make the most of all these things. Okay, this is me, Tausif Sheikh. Tomorrow when we meet, we are going to talk about productivity tips. Very important session. You will be like, साले हर session important कैसे हो सकता है? What do I do, man? I have prepared the entire 2 weeks to give the most valuable content which you can apply. How to lead IT with productive results, getting massive work done in less time. Tomorrow we are going to talk about those techniques. So do visit and let's make the most of it, guys. Okay? Thank you, everybody. See you guys tomorrow night, 9:30, back at the same place. Thank you all. Take care of yourself.